Over the past few weeks, I have, so to speak, come out of the closet locally as the go-to Sasquatch researcher. And I'm calling on as many of you guys as are able and willing to try to do the same in your neighborhood, towns, and cities. Next week, I hope to go live again to include reports from some of you on the progress you have been able to make locally. So if tonight's video inspires you in that direction, that's great. Or if you have already been unlocking these nearby secrets, please let me know and come on the show, as many of you as we can fit, to share your successes. Each one of these stars you're seeing on the screen represents a person within easy reach of you who has had an experience with Sasquatch and is willing to share it. We need to be working simultaneously, not just on the macro approach, how best to spread awareness nationally and internationally, but also on this micro approach. I was able to get into my local newspaper, which is definitely an advantage in this outreach. And I also posted in town Facebook groups and online bulletin boards. I saw your posts on Front Porch Forum and suggest you contact this man. He shared a couple of stories with me just this morning that I know you'd like to hear. This man is in his late 60s and lives in a small town about 6 miles from me.
I'm not looking to have any investigators show up or anything like that. The biggest thing I've learned about them is leave them alone. Both times that I actually saw one, it was while I was hunting. First time was down in southern Vermont back in the 70s. And the last time was about, I don't recall the date, but it was late 90s up here in Lowell, Vermont, on top of a mountain. A buddy of mine and I were hunting bear at the time in September. And I had one very close to me then. And we actually talked it over and about going after it with our rifles. And we both decided that that wasn't what we were going to do.
Yeah.
And
well, they're hardly ever alone, so that you probably would have been.
Yeah, well, that was one of the points I made to him. Like, you know.
Well, so Ryan mentioned that you thought maybe there's some activity right across the street from you.
Yes, there is, and I don't. You know, there's a female and a youngster.
But you haven't seen them.
No, I've heard them. I've heard the youngster. That's how I know there's a youngster up there. And if you've got one in Calais, you've got one around you?
I have had activity around my house, and the one I filmed was right next to East Calais in a ravine right there.
It was a single one?
It was. So do you just routinely listen at night across the street, or does it just come?
Well, I hear them. We leave the windows open at night when, cooling the house down, and we hear them, and I believe there was a male here earlier this year. What? That thing, and it was screaming its full head off.
Really?
On the other side of the street, on the mountain side.
Do you ever try to get
no
audio?
No. I don't need any proof.
Yeah.
I don't need to share it with anyone. I knew what I was hearing the first time I heard it because I know everything that.
From hunting, you know all the animal sounds.
Bird watcher, I know every bird there is. I know every sound that's ever made out in the woods, and this was something I'd never heard in my life. It scared my dog to the point that I was taking the dog out to pee in the middle of the night when I first heard it. And the dog was screaming. I've never heard a dog make sounds like that in my life.
You mean after you both heard?
While it was going on.
She started screaming.
And she instinctively knew just to...
Wow.
She wanted to get the hell back in the house and away from this thing. She was pulling me on the leash and screaming at the top of her lungs. I've never heard a dog make screams like that. They come through in the spring and fall, but now I got one that's living here because it's got a young one, I think. And I haven't gone into the woods at all.
So you don't go in and you don't find stick and tree structures and stuff like that?
Nope. They're right the hell out of the woods.
Yeah.
I go up there, when there's a young one, a mom and a young one up there, all you're going to do is play with fire. You go up there and start looking around. You'll be the next
Yeah, 411.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, be my guest.
Run around in the woods, and you'll be the next case. I'm telling you. I won't go in the woods right here.
Yeah.
I'm not going back in the woods around here. And we used to hunt here all the time. I ain't going back in these woods right around here. You can hear the screams right through the walls when this thing comes in close. I mean, we've had the tree splits and all that, but not because we went in the woods. That happens right on our own property, right, 100 yards from my house, 50 yards from my house. We've had.
Well, last winter some kids saw one behind the elementary school.
I don't doubt that. That's close.
That's close to your house?
Well, fairly. I mean, think about it. It's, these things can walk.
Oh, I know. Well, yeah, it's all close.
Yeah,
they go around. They circulate around.
Absolutely.
This is an elementary school, by the way, where my sisters went years and years ago. I came across your video last night and wanted to just reach out and share an incident that happened last winter. My 8-year-old son at the time came home from school and told me that he and a couple of his friends were playing on recess when they heard a loud noise in the woods near the playground, and when they looked toward the sound they saw a Bigfoot. That boy's sighting strikes me as extremely logical in terms of location. This elementary school is right across from where an old acquaintance of mine used to go in his kayak, along this very circuitous kind of canal through the reeds leading to a very isolated peninsula. He reported to me that on many occasions he heard wood knocks coming from up above in the forest. You can see here that it's a very thick, undeveloped area. It's also right next to the spot where another friend of mine, a local college president, saw many years ago a small figure cross the road right in front of him, right here. The passenger in his car said the first thing that jumped into her mind, which was, is that a poodle? It was standing up as it crossed the road, and my friend said that it had a leathery little monkey face, and it continued to cross the road and disappear into the trees.
I was working on a new trail that kind of goes right through this way. I thought I heard some trees rustling, something up there, probably deer, chipmunks. This is probably 6:30 at night, actually. It was starting to get pretty dark. It was still, just like it is now.
Yep.
Like maybe a slight breeze if you wet your finger.
Yeah.
And I'd say straight in that direction, just over the crest of that little hill there, is my guess, is when I heard that thud. And it was unbelievably loud. I didn't hear cracking of a tree come down. I just heard a thud. It sounded like it hit really solid ground. And I did have a flashlight, but I didn't really want to. I just froze in the
And this was just 3 or 4 days after you saw my outreach video.
Yes. Yeah, this was September 4th. I've been working on building trails out here, and this was the 4th time I've heard a tree fall near me while I'm working on trails.
I was actually looking over here, and then I wanted to just scan, and I turned, and right between, I think there are 2 trees up there, and I saw, going right to left, a very, very black, like no other color anywhere around here. I'm only guessing 6 feet tall, between 2 trees. I saw the outline, it had a pointed head, and the top there was something funny, like a little bit twisty about the top, and it was moving that way.
And it was like a split second and then it was gone?
Yep. And I went right up, and it was nowhere.
They often just get behind something and then go
I was wondering about that.
Directly back.
The thing that makes me believe in it the most was the color, because it was just a different scale of color from anything here.
She has located many structures, this teepee being the best so far. And because she is a conscientious, albeit brand new researcher, she took me up on my suggestion that she record audio in the middle of the night. Now, of course, you could say that these knocks are actually part of the sound made by the tree naturally falling. So we're going to need to hear some further percussion. Over these past 18 months of concerted local research, I've monitored this handful of microforests as consistently as possible, logging more than 700 hours of real-time listening. Still, though, given the amount of ground to be covered just here in this randomly selected microcosm, and the more than 500 nights in question, I would be astonished if I've heard even 10% of the audible Sasquatch activity taking place. More likely, the percentage is down closer to 1. I measured the distance from end to end of my chosen territory, and it comes out to 2.64 miles. What if I'd had the resources and the man-hours required to set up, say, 10 listening posts per night, and to review the complete results within an expanded 5-mile radius? 15 miles? 25? The recognition of what's actually going on around us is long overdue. People, get ready. Get ready.